Hey there. So when I first got my printer and I went to power it on, I noticed I was receiving an error. As soon as I powered on, I was getting the error CM2798 and XS2001. The XS2001 error would just keep on coming back and nothing I could do. And every time I got the error, the machine itself would just power down inside, no light, it wouldn't be able to move or anything. So I looked up some of the descriptions. I found out what the issues meant. So I'm hoping this video can help someone who has this issue. As you can see on the screen, here it is. I'll restart it. I've restarted numerous times. The error would not go away. I sent an email to Creality for support regarding this, but I know that that's going to take a couple days. And honestly, I don't have patience to wait. So I looked it up. I decided to take a chance, just check cables, see if there's anything I could do for it to fix it. And as you can see from the video, I am able to fix the issue. I do recommend that you reach out to customer service first before you do anything, again, because you can damage your printer if you do something wrong. They're probably going to walk you through the same steps, but if something goes wrong, at least it's their fault because they asked you to do the steps to troubleshoot your own device. So this is Creality's wiki page. If you come to this page, you can see any errors that you receive on your printer. It's a nice little diagram to tell you what you're looking for. For example, the errors I received are CM2798. So you have CM, controller, and the motor. So you know it's a motor issue. And my other error is XS2001. XS2001. So this would be an application in a system. So first I'm going to go ahead and look up the first one, CM2798. There you go. This is pretty much, my error mentioned the X step servo. So you could also have the Y and the E. Not sure what the E is. I know the Y is the other motor on the side. I'll show that to you. Now this just is connect issue. In my case was a loose or disconnected cable. That's most likely what you're going to get, but it could be other issues. My other error is the XS2001. System error, try restarting. Now this, from looking it up, I realized this is just a general error. You can get this for many other reasons, not just, it's not specifically saying that one thing is wrong. It just says there's a problem with the system and it cannot continue. As you can see, as you saw from my screen, it just kept popping up. It does not go away. The description, if you want to read it. Again, this just says it's a general error. It's a nice page to look up if you want to look up the errors. I will link it in the description. Okay, so now onto the steps of what I did to fix my issue. First thing you want to do is make sure your printer is off and unplugged from the power, because you will be dealing with electrical parts and you could easily get a shock, damage your printer, hurt yourself, or worse. Now onto the fun part. You're going to need to remove these 16 screws that you see highlighted here. They're not long screws, but it could be tedious. So if you have a power drill or a power screwdriver, it'll make it a lot easier. Just know that once you remove them, the back plate is metal and can be a little heavy. Not as heavy as a machine, but it is heavy. And it'll drop, so be careful. So as you can see here, the back cover is already unscrewed and removed because this is after I fixed my issue. Just want to make sure everything was working before I even put a video out. You can see the back of my printer. I never thought I would get this, I'm going to say, intimate with my printer to know the guts. But here we are. This is the power supply that you can see at the bottom. This cover right here is holding all the very high voltage parts, so don't touch it. Here you have the two servo motors. You have the X axis on the top left, and you have the Y axis, which is on the bottom right, well, sort of middle right. Now, the rest of the video, I will be focusing on the X servo because that is the one that was damaged for me, but it's the same idea for the Y axis servo. You can also see the little control boards that are right next to each servo. Keep in mind that these might be a good idea to check. In my case, mine was loose. Actually, not all the way out, but I had to click it in. So for me, this cable over here that I'm touching, that is the one that's connected to the servo, X servo. This one was not seated right. So I decided to just pull it out completely, reconnect it again. But I will say, taking it out was a pain in the ass. It might be easy if you have very skinny fingers or if you could use some kind of skinny pliers, but be very careful not to damage the cables that are connected to it. It does have glue, but you still have to be careful. Now this board right here, this little plug right here was actually popping out a little for me. I actually pushed it in and I heard it click. So I knew that was loose also. Once I did this, I decided to just plug it in, power it on to do a quick test, and to my surprise and excitement, no more issues. The error went away. I was able to continue with my setup process and calibration, and everything worked great afterwards. Now, if your error mentions the Y servo, but just check on your servo side that connecting to the bottom of the servo. Should actually be even be easier because it is more exposed, easier to see the cables, see if they're loose, unplug them, reconnect them again if needed. But it'll be the same idea, and hopefully that will resolve your issue also. This is something else I checked, which I just did it trying to see if this might be something that's connected up front so that I didn't have to flip this heavy printer. Right here I checked other boards, make sure that the ribbon cables were connected. Everything was connected fine right here. I didn't find any issues. I will say removing that little plastic cover can be a little tough because it is on there so tight. Be careful if you touch anything here because you can damage with your static. Now, one thing I did find afterwards that it is easier to connect with Creality support if you use their Facebook support page, their chat, or their WhatsApp. So those are two options that you have instead of sending email. They might be able to get you within hours or sometimes instant depending on when you try to reach them. Well, there you go. I hope this video helped someone, and thank you for watching.